Again, and today we're continuing work on the Dusk Fang inspired Skyrim, Elder Scrolls inspired short sword here. As you can see, I've kind of tuned things up a little bit and gotten my edge angles cleaned up, got the profile cleaned up a little bit. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to knock all the scale off so I can kind of see what I'm working with underneath the scale. I want to see how that hammer wash looks so I know if I need to redo any of that. So let's get that knocked off, get that cleaned up a little bit, and then we'll see what we're working with. I've gone ahead and just hit it with a polishing wheel. I didn't actually polish it up, which I am going to do next. This is just so I can see the pattern in the steel underneath there. It is starting to kind of come to shape, starting to kind of get that profile and that clean look we want, but I do want it to look rustic and I do want it to look ancient. So I'm going to go over to my polishing belts on my grinder and I'm going to clean this up a little bit more, and then we'll be close to heat treating. So we're back from the belt grinder, or belt sander rather, and it's all polished back up. Nice and shiny, nice and clean, and ready for heat treat. As you can see, I also scalloped the guards here just to give it a more fitting look. Keeps with that aggressive look that it has. I think that kind of is a great little accent piece. It almost looks like tentacles rolling up the end of that thing towards the blade. We do still have the one that's bigger than the other, but that's just an intentional thing to make it look a little more organic. And as you can see, everything pops really well now. So after heat treat, once it's all darkened up and polished again, it's gonna look quite pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start the forge up so we can get this blade heat treated, and then I will be back to you guys once this big monster of a blade is done tempering and hardening. I'll let it cool down the rest of the way after it's been hardened. We've got a nice quench on there. Everything seemed to go nice and smoothly. Everything stayed pretty straight. Got a nice straight thick boy blade. And what's really cool about this is it's actually thicker. You can kind of see it's thicker up past that diamond, and then it's thinner behind that diamond. And the reason I did that is I wanted this to be a very hefty feel of a blade. I'm going to weigh it after I do my temper, and I'm sure it's lost some weight when I grinded it, because I ground these sections for the leaf blade pretty deep, and I also ground those edges pretty far back, so it lost a lot of weight when I was grinding it. Let's just do a quick skates a file beautifully.
1 hour later.
We are back from our polish after we did our temper, and this is what we're working with so far. It's got that magnificent aged look to it, kind of pitting and all that stuff to resemble, you know, aging. Now all that's left is to get it sharpened, get a handle on it, and inlay something into that pommel there. Now I've gone ahead and I've popped a false gemstone in there made of epoxy. That is just some blue epoxy resin, and I'm going to backfill any of the gaps I have here with my clear resin, just so that way it acts as a glossy layer, almost like glass holding that in. It'll also make it shine a little bit brighter. Then after that, I've decided on all these fullers here, I'm also going to use the same blue, and I'm going to backfill these fullers with that resin. So I've got my gem parts being filled. Those are starting to harden. And this is the level of chaos of tape that it requires in order to fill these properly and not screw up that polish I have on the whole blade. So we've now got our epoxy inlays in there. It's kind of hard to see in this lighting, but once I get it polished back up, that'll pop really well. So sadly, it turns out that that epoxy did not adhere for crap in this thing, either that diamond or this. So you live and you learn. I'm gonna go ahead and actually shine up these fullers instead, since that's the case. Since it didn't work out with the epoxy, I'm gonna go ahead and deepen the fullers on both sides of these blades. Just make them pop more. we're back from the grinder yet again, and we've got those fullers deepened. We've got them nice and shined up. The whole blade is polished up nicely. So those fullers really pop now and kind of catch the light. But to be honest, I'm kind of glad that epoxy failed, because these fullers look very, very nice when they're just shined up and deepened. So this is what we're going to go with. We're not going to do anything in the star back here. We're just going to do a nice leather handle. We're going to keep this simple because I was trying to overcomplicate it, and I think keeping it simple for this blade is going to be the key to making it look really nice. So here's our finished blade. Look at those crazy edge bevels. Those things are super shiny. They're super distinguished, just like the fullers. The light runs through this blade like crazy because of all of the markings in there. We've got our really nice comfy handle. So we've got leather wraps up here and down here, so that way the star doesn't bite into your hand at any point when you're holding it in either side of the hand. That way you can also use leather for the fingerings instead of having your fingers on the steel, so it's more comfortable to use with the fingerings. And all in all, I would say that this sword turned out quite sexy indeed. I mean, that is just insane. It is a nice heavy sword for its size, but it is not too heavy to be wielded properly, so I can't wait to test this monster out. Every weapon we do on here, we do 10 chops into the log, because if it can't survive this, then I ain't selling it. Well, survived beautifully and tore the log up. Do a tip test. Stayed dead straight, which I didn't expect it to fail. Oh yeah, that is still razor sharp. Well, since it survived the strength test so well, on to the sharpen test. First up, we got a Sprite model. That was me though. I think I just hit with, yeah, I hit with just the tip on that. But with just the tip, it still ripped it open. Let's see about something a little harder. Try and get a little more sword on this cut. So this one chopped her right in half. Let's see how it does in the thrust. Oh. It worked. What about some milk jugs? Oh yeah! That was even a rising cut. And it just blew through both of those. That was insanity. That blew the cap clean off, and it cut about halfway through before it went flying. So I'd say it's still sharp. It's holding its edge pretty well. Let's see what else we can throw at it. Mayhaps we should try chopping some wood. See how that goes. I mean, a sword is definitely not meant to chop wood. But this one does it just fine. Do something a little bigger and a little harder. Kind of rotated off angle there. Let's try that again. And she's holding up beautifully. Still sharp. Still pretty. Be easy to shine it back up. All I gotta do is hit it with my polishing compound to get all this stuff knocked off of it. So, our sword passed the test with flying colors. I haven't cleaned it up at all, just so I could show you guys. It didn't really get too dirty doing all that stuff. Didn't get dinged up, scratched up, or anything. It's still absolutely beautiful. I just need to get some WD-40 and a rag towel to wipe off the gunk that I got on this blade, and it's perfectly fine. So this will be available on my Etsy store long before this video comes out. So if it's not gone by then, go check it out. It's probably on sale by now. This sword turned out beautifully. From fullers to blade point to edges to tail. This thing, it performs like a champ. It's pretty hefty. It's solid for sure. The ornate finger rings on there are good for getting your edge angles correct when you're cutting. A kind of cheat code to help keep it in line with that short sword. Just straight across with the wrist. But yeah, if you guys like what you've seen, you know what to do. Do that thing right there for me. And until next time, God bless. Stay sharp out there. If you're looking for a custom sharp object like this, check out the Etsy store.